Hey y'all, Fire Princess Lily here. Before we get into today's episode, I am going to be particularly talking about something super serious happening within the wrestling community as a part of, our lead up to actually talking about today's episode of Kill a Kill. And if you just want to hear the Kill a Kill bits, I mean, you're going to have to skip around a bit because I'm not very good at timestamps. But, I just wanted to give you all a heads up that we are going to be talking about something super duper serious in regards to some things that are going on, some allegations that have been made, and it's because it's important to sort of state where at least I stand on that, and I'm sure where Doctor Sea Monster stands on that as well. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it.
When standing in my presence and greeting me, say hi, sir, or I get to cutting off all of your life fibers. My clothes sharp, every fit's like a movie. The moment that you view, your eyes lash like newbie. I override your life. The moment you try to move me, you'll lay there in tatters alone, but you can't move me. Who's he? The rawest one ever known to spit a flame, chilling in the cut, and I'm holding a scissor blade. Kiss the great, have surpassed the greatest. The moment my mode switched to the capitation, anime rap god, no other spits his nikes, and I have no interest in trying to synchronize. Ryuko and Senketsu, Satsuki, Junketsu, rag, yo, nonetheless they're getting set aside, and you won't act wild. You don't want me to go get you. My fit's twice as strong as Shinra Koketsu. Fuck the Elite 4, know me as Elite 6. Smooth, your girl wanna be my seamstress. Legendary.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Pull the Trigger on a Podcast. The podcast where everyone's just trying to climb those star ranks. I'm Fire Princess Lily, and I'm joined, as always, by my friend, Dr. Sea Monster. Hey Doc, how you doing?
I'm great. I've had a good run of days, honestly. I've had a pretty solid week and just generally good.
Well, that's good to hear.
Like, a lot of the things that have been causing me a lot of stress are finally, like, calmed down and handled, and just, like, things... My ride's less bumpy right now.
Well, that's good.
How about you?
I'm doing just fine. Of course, I just came across a video of a man trying to force his way into Walmart without a mask. So, suddenly less good. I hate people. But otherwise, real great. Well, I mean, okay. Not super great. There's been a lot of stuff going on in the wrestling community, which has not been good. It's not been great at all. Of course, I told you I was going to be talking about this, so, I'm not blindsiding you with this.
Go ahead.
But there has been a rash of people speaking out about abuse that they faced within the wrestling community, ranging from just emotional abuse to verbal abuse and all the way, right up to sexual abuse. And
I knew Vince was shitty and his family's kind of shitty, and a lot of the wrestlers have like bad histories. And I've heard about people like Fabulous Moolah, how fucking horrible she was.
oh man,
Like I
Fabulous
did,
was a fucking anyway. Go on, yeah.
but like I really didn't know it was widespread. I mean, at this point, we should honestly we should kind of assume that like it's this bad everywhere. It still is shocking when it comes to the surface.
I mean, yeah, it is shocking, but industries contain shitty people. That's just like every industry that you can possibly be in contains at least some shitty people. Like as much as you try to like weed it all out, eventually people are going to come forward, and just like with what's really sucky, in my opinion, what's really sucky is that if you remember, from last year and 2017 and 2009, and every time people speak out about Vic Mignola, Velcro mayonnaise, there's always a rash of people who go like, okay, well, where's your proof? Where's your proof? Show me some video evidence. Show me some picture evidence. Like, show me a recording where he's like saying that, yeah, he did these things. Like, you have those people, and you have them on max, because this is like so much. This isn't just one person, although Vic did many terrible things for many, many number of years that people just kept quiet about because he was a big time voice actor protected by, the people, well, a person at Funimation. And once that person was gone, it was easier to talk about this. But
I mean, you and I are both from like the Texas con scene. Like we have like first and second hand experience of exactly the kind of guy that Vulture Manchego is.
yeah.
Not to the full degree of it, but like
Oh, I've got I mean, I don't have like a sexual a sexual abuse encounter with that man, but I've got, just abuse encounters with that man.
Everyone knew he was shitty.
Yeah. All
the while doing his very, very strict Christian routine. Because don't they all?
Oh my god. Like, this isn't the time to like talk about this guy because he's currently getting his slices of humble pie, cut up and served right now because he has a shit legal team. But man, you want to talk about like a Christian routine? That dude, like, I remember being on staff and having to clear out like video rooms, like where in the schedule there's supposed to be anime showing. You have to clear those out because he wants to hold church services at the convention, and he needs to get his way. It's like, oh my god, motherfucker. Anyway, but this isn't about Victorian marsupial. This is about wrestling, which I know that not a lot of our listeners are into. I mean, which is weird because wrestling is just anime. Honestly,
it's theater. Wrestling is theater.
It's theater.
It's a live action martial arts drama with stunts. It's I don't know what people think wrestling is. It is a live action performance of drama and stunts.
Yeah. But people are having problems, of course, with this because some of their favorite wrestlers or wrestlers that they've watched a long time are, getting hit by this. Because just because somebody appears to be a nice person, like on TV or when you meet them at like a convention or whatever, does not mean that they are a nice person. Like, that's just the face that they're wearing. A good example is Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is like the biggest heel in wrestling. He loves to be the heel, but he's actually kind of a good guy. Now he fucking slips up all the time. Like, he did a big All Lives Matter thing like a couple of weeks ago, and then he had to like backtrack that because he had to learn that, oh no, I understand why we're talking about Black Lives Matter. So he's like a genuinely kind of good dude who is who does learn. Now, if something comes out where somebody's like, oh, Chris Jericho, was inappropriate with me, do you think that I'm going to say, oh, nah, man, Chris Jericho, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm going to be like, really? And I'm going to listen to that person, right? Because I would rather accidentally give credence to a liar than accidentally back a rapist. That's how I feel. Like, if somebody's lying, that's on them. And it sucks that they lied and they got my support and they lied. But if somebody comes out and they genuinely had an experience and I'm like, oh, that person, they wouldn't do that, blah, 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 or whatever, people watch that. And people notice, like, if you're not going to believe somebody else when they're explaining their experience, why should they come out to you with their experiences? You're not a safe person.
A lot of people like to repeat, just believe victims. That's more than just believing victims. It's about making it safe, a safe environment for other people to come forward.
Exactly. Absolutely. There so far two AEW, because I watch AEW primarily, stars have been kind of implicated in these sort of things. Now, one who has not been named, but everybody seems to think it's one particular wrestler because he fits the entire description. Used to work for WWE. Did indies with the person who was accusing them of having done this thing while they were on the Independents. Was at SummerSlam weekend in 2013. Like, it fits exactly one person. Everybody thinks they have it figured out, but the person doesn't feel comfortable coming forward with a name. So who knows? I mean, if it is who people say it is, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not going to say it was that person because we don't have, a name. So it's just speculation. But Jimmy Havoc, who I really like, or have liked, he has been implicated not only as being a rapist, who may have only done it once, but doing it once is one time too many. But also as just an abusive partner to his ex, like doing things like threatening suicide if they left, self-harming so they wouldn't leave, stuff like that, which I have dealt with, like, personally. And so it's like, that fucking sucks. So AEW has they haven't quite cut ties with him. They said that they've sent him to therapy while they investigate. So basically he's been taken off TV. I don't know if he's actually going to therapy. If he is, good, of course. You want people to get help. You want them to get better. But I think that's just them saying, this is why he's not on TV. He's in therapy. Which is also fine to me. I don't want him to be on TV if he is guilty of these things. And people are like, well, why would you ruin somebody's life over allegations? It's like, it's not ruining their life. They should, here's the deal, right? Let's say that they didn't do it. Okay, so you take them off TV while you're investigating. What you've done is, like, if they get found innocent, they get put back on TV, then everybody's like, oh, cool, Jimmy. We're glad that, that wasn't true. Sort of like with Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, was not implicated, but accused of very terrible things. And then later he came out with proof that that actually he was the one that was abused. And they're like, oh, sorry, Johnny. Like, we kind of knew that you were a good guy, but, we had to, we had to back somebody just in case, because, nobody wanted to believe that Johnny Depp was a dipshit, right? Nobody wants to believe that.
So has his name been cleared? Because I wasn't sure how that whole thing shook out.
I don't know how that whole thing shook out. I think his name's been cleared. I think also maybe they were just both terrible to each other. It's a possibility. Like, but he did have a bunch of proof about stuff that she did to him. So, yeah. But
people are just shitty to each other.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even strictly speaking an abuse. It's just two people being shitty to each other,
which is still being abusive towards each other. But
no, it's just a different dynamic than like one person being abusive to the other person.
Yeah. But
there's different ways to be a terrible person.
There's definitely different ways to be a terrible person. So let's say Jimmy doesn't do it. He gets taken off TV while they investigate. They investigate, find out he doesn't do anything. Then he gets to come back on TV, and everybody's like, oh, okay, you didn't do it. We're glad that you didn't do it. But if he did do it and they kept him on TV, what that does is that puts their performers that work with him at risk. They have women performers. And keeping him there when he possibly did something, even if he feels bad about it, right? Puts them at a potential risk while they figure it out. And if he goes to therapy and he gets better and they want to bring him back, then I'm for that. I am definitely for second chances, paying your dues and, trying again. I'm not heartless, but there has to be something, something has to be done. People have to be, if there is an accusation, like, even if you feel like, I don't know about that, there should be an investigation done. There has to be. Because otherwise you're just like, oh, that person's lying. That person's a liar. And why people are so apt to believe that women are just inherently deceitful rather than being willing to believe that maybe somebody that they like could possibly be a shitty person. It baffles me. Like, my favorite wrestler currently is Orange Cassidy. I love Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy is like the chillest, the coolest, the best. I love his gimmick, whatever. But if somebody came out today, like if in the middle of this podcast, I would stop the podcast to talk about it. And I would be like, man, Orange Cassidy needs to be investigated. Orange Cassidy needs to not be on TV, until this gets, sorted out. That's me. Because I want people to be safe. And the only way you're going to be safe is if you look into this and take the necessary steps to ensure that other people are safe from potential abusers.
Like, bad people can make good art. You can get attached to someone as creator without knowing they're like, and it hurts. When you find that out, especially if you identify with them, or kind of like you kind of like feel that they get you, like, you know what I mean?
Mm.
I used to be a really big fan of Max Landis. He turned out to be a fucking monster.
Yeah.
And honestly, I still feel really betrayed by that. Like, I don't make excuses for him. I really don't engage with anything he's made since this came out. I accepted reality, and I just go with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's really all I had to talk about in terms of like wrestling this week. Like, wrestling happened. Orange Cassidy is gonna wrestle Chris Jericho, like at Fyter Fest, which is like a pay-per-view-ish event that they're doing in a couple weeks, so that'll be fun. Watched Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn was good this week.
It was good this week. They're gonna do the wedding episode next week, and we'll see how that plays out. So
next week is going to be the season finale.
And the preview is Ivy in her wedding dress, and Harley in a bridesmaid dress. So we'll see. I'm hoping, but I've been too burned in the past to just be like, oh, they're gonna do this. I'm hoping they do one thing, but we'll see.
I'm hopeful. I'm still riding high on Cachadora.
Right. Which was good.
Yes. Let's see. In terms of anime, I've been trying to get back into some anime I haven't finished.
Mm-mm.
I've gotten close to finishing The Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. It's a really good show.
You got into what? I'm sorry?
The Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime.
Oh, that's so good.
That's a really good show. I had a lot of fun with it. And I watched the first episode of Next Life is a Villainess today.
Oh, that's so good. It's so
I really liked it. I really liked it. It was funny when a child got knocked out 3 times.
Yes.
But no, I really like the main character. She's very engaging, and I know a little bit about how the show is going to kind of continue, and you see that setup in the first episode, and I think it's going to be really fun time. So I will have watched some more episodes by the next time we record. You should definitely listen to episodes of this podcast and episodes of our other podcast.
Next Life of Villainous, really great. I just like that she's kind of dumb. She's so dumb and oblivious to the things that she does. And it's real good. It's real good.
Let's see, have I been doing anything? really haven't. I was actually a little bit sick earlier this week, and I did a lot of sleeping.
Sleep can be good unless you do it too much. So, do you want to talk about Kill la Kill? I think we're at that point.
We'd love to talk about Kill la Kill.
All right. This week we watched A Loser I Can't Hate, episode 7 of Kill la Kill, and this one, it's an interesting one. Like, it definitely tests the bonds of friendship trope, more or less. This is totally what this episode is because, well, you'll see when we get into it. Here we go. So we open on the Mako household having the whatever croquettes, which, of course, the family eats like crazy, but even Ryuko is like, eating steadily, more or less. Because she's gotten used to, like, this lifestyle. She's gotten used to this family. But everybody's like, oh, these croquettes are so good. They're great. And, like, the father's like, oh, you make the best. Like, these are amazing. She's like, the trick is to chop everything up finely and mix them with potatoes. That's the trick. You want to make a good croquette, just whatever you're throwing in, just chop it finely, throw it in with potatoes. It's the best. But even Ryuko's like, these croquettes, they're really great.
Every anime's gonna have its signature food.
Yeah. And these croquettes are this anime's signature food for sure.
Don't know why that is. I understand that that's a common thing in media in general, like character having a favorite food or like a specific dish being a running gag within a series or a franchise. But like, anime definitely stick to that. Like, characters' favorite foods is usually pretty prominent.
Yeah. But Ryuko tells her that, these are really great croquettes. And the wife's like, the mother's like, well, go ahead and have as many. She's like, oh, but I'm already full. It's fine. She's like, okay, well, if you're done eating, the bath is already ready for you. Which is this is the point where the show is decidedly, like, the show is always horny on me, but it's like, this is where we're totally going to go all in on it. Because Ryoko's going to go to the bath, which leads Montaro, the father, and Guts to, like, go wide-eyed and lightning flash behind them because now's their chance to, peek.
Carving on Ryuko scenes are always the worst part of the series.
Yeah. We cut to Ryuko getting ready to take her bath, her shower, whatever. And she's just chuckling to herself, to which Senketsu asks, what's so funny? And she's like, man, lively dinners are a great thing. She's like, my mom died when I was young, and dad sent me off to boarding school. So, I didn't really have this growing up. I didn't really have, family dinners. So this is really great. And she's like, I thought, eating dinners by myself and alone was for regular. But now that I think a meal tastes better when you're eating with a whole family. I think that's the best. Which, it's really cute. Like, Ryuko doesn't have, like, a family necessarily of her own because of her situation. And she sort of found one. And it's cute. I like it.
Yeah, she doesn't really have parents or siblings.
She's like, however, and she pulls the curtain and just blasts the father, son, and dog away. She's like, I don't need peeping Toms. She sends him off like Team Rocket. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Skip the intro. We cut them back onto Ryuko and Mako at the high school eating lunch. They both opened their lunches, which of course contained the croquettes, among other things. And as they're eating, Ryuko gets her lunch gets knifed. a knife comes out of nowhere, and a strange character just appears above them, challenging Ryuko. It's Jack Naito, president of the knife throwing club. He's gonna take her down. And his outfits, I mean, a lot of the outfits I believe this episode are just, they're not the best. It's like they just had to throw a bunch of mid bosses together before they got to like the real conflict of this episode.
I'm gonna, and we're going to come back to that a little later.
Yeah,
But most of the 2-star uniforms are just jokes.
pretty much. But Ryo was like, "Man, you've got some nerve ruining the lunch that Mako's mom made for me. That's fucking bullshit." And so she transforms real fast. It's a quick transformation sequence. And she quickly just takes him out. There's a bunch of knives flying around, which Mako doesn't dodge at all. They just miss her, which is pretty good. Ryuko, still transformed, is being attacked by the Nanjing Lily Club president, whose outfit...
I searched on Wikipedia once.
Uh-huh.
No avail. No avail.
Yeah,
It's some kind of acrobatic trick, like juggling or something.
Right. So it's like I don't have any idea either. So Ryuko's like, I can't believe I'm getting challenged again already, and she just like lazily cuts this guy up. And then the tightrope walking club president shows up, and he looks like a clown. I don't know why. But he's like, I'm going to be the one to take you out. Nope. She just immediately ends him. And this is all still happening while within lunch. Mako is eating with one of the knives that missed her. There's like a knife throwing club, a Najing Lily club, a tightrope walking club. It's like, what's the deal with all these ultra specific clubs? This is ridiculous. This is dumb. And Mako's like, oh, all those guys used to be in the acrobatics club. They split up because of you. It's like, if somebody beats you, they get to jump to 3-star status. So that's why people are just like making all these new clubs.
Actually, there's actually a really brief moment here that I hadn't noticed before.
Okay.
After Ryuko beats the three guys, she's back talking with Mako. Mako is actually feeding her some of her lunch.
Oh, yeah.
Very heterosexual.
Very heterosexual. She's like, you can't get a 2-star Goku uniform unless you're a club president. So that's why a bunch of new clubs are, popping up. They're all gunning for you. And she's like, what? She's like, more stars means a better life. And they're all desperate. And Ryuko's like, man, this academy is fucking messed up. This is bullshit. And she's like, wait a minute, I've got a great idea. If this is how this all works, then why don't we make our own club? The Fight Club. She makes the Fight Club. To which Kamigori is like, what the fuck is this bullshit? And she's like, what? You don't have eyes? I'm starting a Fight Club. And he's like, this is bullshit. You're pulling some bullshit. And she's like, you guys are the ones pulling bullshit with me, forcing students to come after me all the fucking time. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to make the Fight Club. I'm the Fight Club president. And he's like, do you think that's going to get approved? Do you think that we're going to allow that? To which Satsuki shows up at her usual shining star position. And she's like, I approve of this Fight Club. And
I really like the idea of Ryuko starting a Fight Club. Gamagori doesn't trust her initially, but Sasuke's reaction is very swift and very clear.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much, oh, you want to play by our rules?
Fine.
Good. Of course, Gamagori falls in line immediately.
Well, of course.
I think this is very interesting. It will be important for later.
But Ryuko's like, there she goes, looking down from us on high. And she's like, you're trying to integrate into my system, huh? And Ryuko's like, no, I'm going to bust your system the fuck up. That's my job. To which Atsuki can only kind of like smile and be like, oh, that's amusing. Do your best to not like get wrapped up in this shit. Bye. And then Kebagori immediately pulls out a table and is like, all right, let's begin the paperwork then. And she's like, what? He's like, what? She said you could do it, so you get to do it. I have to abide by her decision. It's real good. I love it a whole lot. And he's like, I assume you're going to be the Fight Club president then? And he's like, yeah, and I don't need no Goku uniform. I already got my Kamui. Haha. He's like, understood. And then he throws out a bunch of paperwork. And he's like, club presidents are to submit the club activity log every Friday. It, like, at the end of each month, and at the end of each month, expenses are settled and expenses applications for the next month are filed. He goes through all these rules, like tons of rules, and there's all this paperwork. And, like, there's so much paperwork you can almost not see him from Ryoko's position. And this leads to Ryuko being like, I don't want to do any of this. You know what? Nope. Mako. Mako is the club president. That's who that is. And she's like, what? She freaks out. And she's like, that was so mean. How could you make me the president like that? Boo. And Ryuko's like, come on, it's just a setup. The focus of Fight Club is fighting. So, you know, it's not a big deal. This is nothing. You're just... It's like when I beat the other club presidents, the club achievements will be recognized and your reputation will skyrocket. It's perfect. And that'll improve your living situation. But Mako's like, I can't do it. I can't be a club president. Oh, this sucks. But we cut to Ryuko coming out to the schoolyard with her sign. She's like, prepare yourselves. I'm Ryuko Matoi with the Fight Club. And I'm here to kick your ass. And she's like, she challenges the president of the folk dance club, which I do not understand this outfit at all.
Light bulb hat. I don't get
But she's like, I'm here to challenge you, and I'm going to take your Goku uniform. And the president's like, prepare to have the tables turn. This is fine. And then music starts up, and she's like, haha, time to go. High-speed mayhem. And they all... The whole club forms a circle around her. And they do, I guess, kind of the hokey pokey. They keep putting their, like, left foot in and kicking Ryuko. But she instantly transforms and just takes the life fiber and beats that club president.
Yep.
We have a kind of montage scene of Ryuko going through different clubs. Well, she goes through one other club, and then we cut to Mako being in the club president's meeting. But this is kind of the episode. Ryuko going through different clubs, Mako being stuck with club president work. And Mako actually puts in the effort and puts in the work, which allows them to move from their shitty little shanty to get like a nice condo.
Yeah, I want to say that that Mako really takes to this whole thing really well.
She does.
Which is important for her character. This is the thing about her. She's very spacey and goofy, and she really she kind of lives in her own little world.
Mm-hmm.
She's definitely not stupid.
No.
There's a lot, like through the series, a lot of little moments of her being very insightful or clever, but she really shines in this episode.
Absolutely. Totally agree. But, the parents are super happy. They're like, this condo's great. Look at the view. And it even has a clinic. And we see a sign that says front alley doctor. And the wife's like, what's a front alley doctor? And the son's like, it doesn't matter because so long as it's okay, it's all good. And it's okay, and so it's all good. Got this peeing on a brand new dog bed is real weird.
It's a puppy pad. Puppy pad.
Huh?
It's like a puppy pad.
Is it a puppy pad? I thought it was a bed.
It's not the bed. It's like puppy pads.
Oh. Mako has a new uniform. That's just a 1-star uniform. Everybody's just super pleased with, like, you know, all the cool stuff that's in this apartment that they did not have, you know, in their shitty little shack. Like, they're even impressed with the flush toilet because they didn't have that. It's also a bidet, so.
Also likes the bidet.
And Ryoko's just like, wow, I know she said your lifestyle is tied to like how well your cloud does, but this is ridiculous. This is crazy. This time they have croquettes that look like actual croquettes because it's not just made from mystery meat. This is genuine mincemeat cutlets. Like, this is the best. They're made from ground beef and made of a ground meat blend that actually came from cows and pigs. Like, it's like actual food. To which Mako is crying because it's so good. The family is just kind of savoring it instead of like wolfing it down as fast as they possibly can. Like, it's a pretty great scene. The dad is just he's like he's touched. He's like, this is all thanks to you girls. I'm so glad. And Ryoko's like, hey, look, I'm just paying y'all back. Like, this isn't like a big deal. Don't worry about it. And then we cut to Ryuko, of course, in the bath, and the father, son, and dog being horny on Maine and trying to like catch a peek.
Perving on Ryuko scenes are always the worst part.
They are, but she spends a moment just knocking them around as they're rappelling off the apartment. But Ryoko's like, this is really good. I'm glad I did this for them, that I was able to, help them. And Mako's like, Ryuko, I'm going to work real hard to be the best Fight Club president that I could be. And Ryoko's like, I know you will. I'll leave that all to you. That's fine. Do your thing. Very supportive. We cut to the school the next day, and Ryoko's fighting the ping pong club president. Which, she drinks oil and spits fire? It's really weird. Ryuko just blows through her. But, then she faces the origami club. Done. Once again, this is just another scene of just Ryuko cutting through a club, cut to Mako in the club president meeting. But in this particular scene, she's like, given the circumstances, I hereby move that the Fight Club's standard of living be raised because, they're doing great. And Mako's like, I'm going to protect this lifestyle that gives everybody this twinkle in their eye because this is really, this is great. But we do cut to the evening, and they've been moved from an apartment to an actual home.
Wait, don't we get a scene with the Elite Four before that?
No, we don't. We just get the scene of Mako saying it's time to raise our of proclaiming that the standard of living for their club should be increased because Ryoko's doing so well. And then we cut right to the evening.
I'm sorry, I must have messed up my notes. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I mean, the Elite Four is there in the meeting, but they don't really say anything or do anything.
Right.
But they're eating in their expensive house. They're eating steaks and such. And the son is like, ugh, French cuisine again? Like, he's become real snooty real fast. The father isn't even eating dinner with them. He's like, I got a medical association meeting. And the wife's like, oh, I see. But would it be alright if I bought the diamond necklace I showed you the other day? They're really letting this lifestyle go to their head. But the son's like, what kind of medical association do back alley doctors have? Which only leads the father to glare at him. Which I guess is them saying that the father is having an affair because, rich people are shitty. But even Mantaro leaves the dinner. He's like, I'm going to a buddy's birthday. Even the mother leaves. She's like, I'm heading out too. Just enjoy your dinner, Ryuko. And she's like, oh, yeah, sure. Mako comes in and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry I'm late. The club president meeting ran late." And Ryuko's like, "Oh, I guess everybody's just kind of busy doing their own thing." And Mako's like, "Oh, yeah, I guess so. Well, when you're done eating, go to the weight training room and get some exercise in." She's like, "You have a packed schedule for tomorrow and the day after that." And she's like, "I really like being able to live in a huge mansion like this. Thanks, Ryuko." Mako hasn't necessarily let this lifestyle go completely to her head, because we can still see like her true personality sort of shining through. Because her whole deal is like she just wants to keep this life for everybody else. Like, it's not necessarily about her. She's just trying to protect like this lifestyle for everybody to appreciate. She's like, "Let's do everything we can to protect this lifestyle." And Ryoko's like, sure. And then Mako heads to bed, leaving Ryuko alone. Which is real sad, because it's just reminiscent of the life that she had previously to meeting Mako's family. But we cut to the next day in the gym, and Mako's like, "Okay, I'm sorry, what?"
We get actually one last scene. She like checks to see if anyone's like peeking on her.
Nope, that hasn't happened yet.
Oh. Okay, I have botched my notes horribly. I am so sorry.
It's okay.
I was so confident. I thought I was good. I am so sorry.
It's okay. We cut to the next day, and Mako's like, "Okay, Ryuko, you're gonna fight every single person in this gym." And Ryoko's like, "What?" And it's a bunch of people fighting, not even just necessarily Ryuko. It's like a weird basketball wrestling club thing. It's real weird. But Mako pulls out a loudspeaker. Is like, "I'm Fight Club president Mako. Last name club member Ryuko Matoya hereby challenges you all to a fight. Let's have a good, clean fight." We then cut to a scene of the dad in one of those pleasure parlors, surrounded by pretty ladies. He's got money in his lap. He's like, "Bring me every drop of sake you have." He's smoking cigars. The mother is also in her own kind of club like that. With is a host club with dudes like thrusting their hips with bottles of wine in their pants. It's pretty good. But we cut back to Ryuko, who's kind of like chilling on the stands, like taking a breather after a fight. And Mako's like, "All right, let's go out to the field to your next fight." And Ryuko's like, "Ugh." She's tired. We cut to the son, who's buying the best chocolates. He's buying all the chocolates in the store so that he can impress all these girls. And even Guts is like got the best dog food and all these dog girlfriends. And then we cut back to Ryuko fighting, Mako doing more club stuff, Ryuko fighting, Mako doing more club stuff. And that's just kind of how that's the beats of this episode. Ryuko is super tired as she walks home. And Mako stays for the club president meeting. And this is where we get the Elite Four scene.
Okay.
Which leads with Nananon saying, "What right do you have to be here, underclassmen?" And Mako's like, "Our club activities results give me the right. It's the best part of the Hojin Academy. Personal ability is everything, remember?" And Nanana's like, "Are you going to let these people have their way, Lady Satsuki? Really? Come on. Unless something can be..." I believe Gamagori is saying this. I have this on mute, of course. But he's like, "Unless something can be done, Matoy and Mako will become a part of the student council club's inner circle. Like, we cannot have that. Come on." And
I think that was Muda.
Oh, was it? Okay. But Sasuke turns around. She's like, "Anyone who is defeated doesn't have the right to say stuff."
Oh, sorry, no, that was Tanagayama then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Whose name I forgot already?
Because he last episode.
Yeah. But he's like, let me fight her again. I'll put her down for certain this time. And she's like, be patient. And so, what's this guy's name? Doesn't it start with an H?
The info.
Yeah, the info guy. It's like Haku, right?
That's
Hoka?
Inamoto.
Hoka. Yeah.
Inamoto.
He's like, must have some plan in mind, authorizing the Fight Club as you did. So what is it? What's your plan? And Sasuke's like, hey, just wait and watch a little while longer, and maybe you'll fucking see the plan. It's like, will they destroy this academy, or will they be assimilated into it? We'll find out.
I really like this whole scene with Satsuki in the Elite Four.
Yeah.
Like, we don't really know what her intentions are earlier, but she tips her hand a bit more here, and we see that her intention was to try and get Ryuko assimilate into her system.
Exactly, if possible. We cut back to the mansion, and Ryuko is eating alone again. And she looks super sad. And Senketsu's like, I see her eating all alone. And she doesn't really say anything to that. We just catch her in the bath. And she's just relaxing there, like staring up the ceiling. And she immediately opens the window to see if anybody's perving on her. Because, I guess because absence makes the heart grow fond. I don't fucking know. Why would she even care? Like, I think that would be the one good thing that she could look forward to is nobody perving on her. But no, they made it look like she's sad that they're not doing it. And I get that the point is like she's sad that the lively familyhood atmosphere is gone and being replaced by like a life of solitude that she has previously known. Like I get that, but still, like the one thing you'd think that she would be happy about.
I mean, it's a subversion of like the running joke that we've had for this episode, the perfect on Ryuko scene, which kind of makes the previous instances in this episode a bit less random and egregious.
Yeah.
But perfect on Ryuko scenes are still the worst part of the series.
They are. We cut to Ryuko just lying on a bed by herself. And so Senketsu's like, tell me, is this really victory? Is this really what you want? And we just watch her, we zoom in on her as she's staring up at the bed. We cut to the next day and Mako is in the schoolyard. And she's like, the day we face off against the Elite Four is here at last. If we win this battle, the Fight Club will stand supreme on the student council. We will both have honor and we'll have all the luxury and honor that we can fucking stand. This is going to be amazing. This is going to be great. She does a great anime girl laugh. It's nice. Mitsusuki, who we've not seen this whole episode, is staring on. And I mean, I think the less we see of him, the better, but that's just me personally. Ryuko walks up, and Mako's like, you're late. But it's the final showdown. It's here at last. Come on. And Ryuko throws something in Mako's face, and Mako's like, what is this? And she's like, it's my letter of resignation from this club. And Mako's like, what are you saying? She's like, I'm quitting the Fight Club. She's like, you can't quit now. We'll be sent back to the slums. This isn't good. We don't want that. And Ryuko's like, yeah, but I'm okay with that. And Mako's like, I'm not. I am never going back there. To which a dresser falls from the sky, nearly flattening Mako. And Sasuke appears in her usual on-high position. She's like, Fight Club President Mako. Your two-star Goku uniform is inside of that wardrobe. And she's like, my uniform? She's like, if you want to keep your current social standing and lifestyle, fight and defeat Ryuko Matoi. And Ryoko's like, what are you saying? And Sasuke's like, if you defeat her, I'm gonna give you a 3-star Goku uniform. It's gonna be fucking sweet. To which Mako's like, oh my goodness, that sounds great. And Ryoko's like, this is fucking playing dirty. And Sasuke's like, so you're gonna take the offer? You gonna do it? Ryuko transforms, and we get like a kind of proper transformation sequence. It's still, played at high speed, but there's more to it.
Yeah.
Ryoko's ready to square off against Satsuki, and Sasuke's like, well, hold your horses. You're not fighting me today. As we turn, and Mako bursts free from the wardrobe wearing a really great outfit that is reminiscent of so many things, but mostly biker gangs, but also other things.
This specific style of dress is called poncho.
Yeah, I know.
And I love Mako's uniform. It's
Mhm.
one of my favorites in the series. Like I mentioned earlier, most of the 2-star uniforms that we see, especially in this episode, just jokes. They're just goofy and
Yeah.
But Mako's is actually pretty cool.
Well, yeah,
especially the collar. I love the collar.
yeah. Well, it's because she's the proper antagonist
She's the proper antagonist of this episode.
of this episode. So they're gonna square off, and we cut to the Elite Four, and Nana's like, "Oh, that's Lady Satsuki. That she plays dirty." It's like, this is the plan. This is a great plan. But Mako immediately goes in like for a really hard kill shot. And we just see Ryuko sort of doing her best to fend it off. Because she doesn't actually want to hurt Mako. She's like, Mako, cut this out. And she's like, I can't. We finally have a life of luxury. I can't go back to being poor. And Ryuko's like, just snap out of this. This is dumb. And this is when the rest of Mako's family kind of drives in their fancy car. Ryuko gets like thrown away by Mako as she's distracted. Hi, puppy. But the family's like, Mako, what are you doing? And Ryoko's like, stop. Mako's not in her right mind right now. To which the family just kind of walks away as she's doing this speech of like, if you try to stop her, you'll put yourself in danger too. And they just walk away. They sit in the stands and they're like, what are you standing around for? Hurry up and beat the tar out of Ryuko. Get her. Because they're also, poisoned by this lifestyle. And Ryuko's like, you're not going to stop her? And they're like, sorry, we really just cannot give up this lifestyle that we've become accustomed to. And they're like, don't worry, we'll make sure to enjoy life for you too. Like, they're just giving her up. Satsuki's like, observe, this is humanity in its purest form. Prosperity will lead to greed, and greed will lead to their eventual downfall. Like, once they have a taste of worldly pleasures, they're enslaved to them forever. They become...
Satsuki's rant here is just so great. I really love Satsuki. She is my favorite.
She's a great character. She's like, they've become slaves to the academy that I've created. They are truly pigs in human clothing. Pigs which must be tamed by force. Of course, during this whole time, Mako is whipping... Is shit whipping. She's just whipping the shit out of Ryuko this whole time, back and forth on a chain. Ryuko breaks free of the chain because she is holding back, even as Mako fires a missile from her bat. This is probably one of the more challenging fights that Ryuko has ever had from a 2-star uniform. But also, that's just because she's like not working very hard at it. But Ryuko transforms back. To which Senketsu's like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'll be fine like this. This is fine. Even Sagiyama? That guy.
Uzu.
Uzu, thank you. Even Uzu's like, what the fuck is she thinking? And Gabgor's like, she's choosing friendship over her own life. Question mark. Mako does the tough guy walk up to Ryuko, which is great. Because, it's the kind of fight, it's kind of what all tough guys and fighters do in, like, animes. It's really good. And then she proceeds to punch and kick Ryuko. The family is super pleased with her, and we cut back to Mako just really beating the tar out of Ryuko. Over and over again, faster and faster. Just knocking her away. It's real brutal. Day turns to evening. And apparently, I guess Mako's just been beating the shit out of Ryuko this whole time. And Mako's like, this is the end! She holds up her fist, and she's charging in. And we get scenes of them cutting back and forth from Mako charging, Ryuko standing there, and the family cheering. Until we get too close on Ryuko's face, and she's just smiling at Mako. And Mako stops short of her punch. She's like, why? Why aren't you stopping me? She's like, if this keeps up, I'm going to kill you. And Mom and Dad aren't trying to stop me? Like, what, you guys call us yourselves parents? They're like, you're mad at us? She's like, when I became club president, our lives improved, and I thought we all had this sparkle in our eyes. I thought our whole family was glowing. And Mako's just crying right now. And she's like, but we weren't. It was just a nasty glint. We were being blinded by greed. That wasn't a twinkle. It wasn't a dazzling glimmer. It was just, greed. This isn't good. This is what I wanted. She's like, we're the worst.
We get this really great emotional scene from Mako here, which you really wouldn't normally get from comic relief sidekick.
No, you wouldn't.
Like, again, this kind of shows like the complexity of her character, and this whole scene is just great.
It is good. It's very good. But Mako punches the ground so hard it busts up the arena. Truly, if she had hit a Ryuko with that, Ryuko might be dead because there's just a big crater now. And I believe Ryuko says, I guess this is the real power of your Goku uniform, Mako. You never attacked me all out. You knew that, and that's why you... And Mako's like, you knew that, and that's why you stood there and you took the beating. She's like, Mako is fighting hard against her own desires. And she's like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She's like, take that silly thing off. And then we get, of course, we get the usual Mako scene of, shining light on top of her, and she goes over, like, the lesson for today, or whatever the lesson was she feels is supposed to be. And she's like, I disband the fighting club. We're just going to go back to being no stars. It's going to be great. And Ryuko's like, see? Humans aren't as weak as you thought they were, Sasuke. They can suppress their desires through sheer willpower. And Ryuko transforms as Mako throws off the 2-star uniform and cuts it apart. And this is sort of how that's how this episode ends, because the credits are the uniform being cut up and exploding into fireworks, and them just standing on looking. Even Sasuke can't help but smirk.
Yeah, it's a very telling little smirk.
It is very telling, as we'll find out more about her character later. Of course, we have just Mako standing there in her bra and panties, which is weird. But the family charges down into the crater in their expensive uniforms, and they're stripping them off too. Like, they're like, oh, we're so sorry. We've acted so disgracefully. We're awful people. But they all come in. They bow down to say they're sorry. And she's like, Ryuko's like, pull something like that again, and I will not be so nice next time. Got it. They're like, yes, ma'am. It's really good.
Yeah. Great.
And then we cut back in on them eating these mystery meat croquettes, and they're all having just a real good time. which is really heartfelt. They're like, nothing beats your croquettes. They're the best in Japan. And Ryuko's smiling. She's like, these are so good. And Seiketsu's like, your lively dinners have returned. And Ryoko's like, yeah, this is how family should be. It's really good. It's really sweet. And I like it. I like this episode overall. This is just how this episode ends.
There's a little bit of credits.
Oh, is there a little bit?
Because we don't get full credits for this episode, the credits play over the last scenes, and there's one final stinger scene. So.
Yes, we cut into Sasuke being like, what did you say? The fact that all those lowly fight clubs were the fact that the lowly fight club defeated all those other clubs meant that they were not worthy. And Uzu is like, I believe it's Uzu, or maybe it's Nananon. Like I said, I have this on mute. It's like, so you're serious then? Yeah, it was Nananon, because Gamgore is like, enough with your questioning. Lady Sasuke has never done something that she hasn't meant to do. And he's like, she's correct. He's correct. He's like, I will rebuild Hajime Academy's order from the ground up once more. Honoji Academy will hold the natural election. And the information guy is like, wait, surely you don't intend to exploit Matoi to the purge of this academy. Wait, surely you didn't exploit Matoi to purge this academy of its undesirables. To which Sasuke just smirks. Which, yeah, that was kind of her plan.
Yeah. So, at the very end, find it all went according to Kaikaku for Sasuke.
Yeah.
I really love the wheels within wheels way she kind of operates through the series.
Yeah, it's good.
We'll definitely see more of that as the show goes on, but like it's very good here.
It's very good. Yeah. So that's the episode. It's actually one of my more favorite episodes, even though it contains so many let's perv on Ryuko scenes.
Oh.
Which, as we know, is not my favorite. But it's still good for like the character dynamics of the show.
Yeah. I said last week that we're out of the Monster of the Week type episodes, and like you can see that especially here at the end.
Yeah.
So like an episode like this, characters suddenly getting rich, a fight between close friends, etc. Something that in another series would just be one-off.
Mm-hmm.
It ends up having events that kick off the next story arc. There's a lot of hints at things that we'll see in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like this is probably my favorite standalone episode. That's not like in the middle of like an arc. Oh,
yeah. So, anything else to talk about this episode, or is that where we're cutting it today? Because I don't think there's really anything else to talk about.
It's just really good. It's a good episode.
Agreed.
And the next arc is probably it's definitely one of my favorite sections of the series. Again, like saying my favorite part of the series is really difficult to say because, like, okay, well, there's like the closing arc, there's this arc, there's the arc after it. They're all good. They're all good arcs, Brent.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Of course, Studio Trigger came out with a new anime, or at least released a new anime that they had been working on, called Brand New Animal, which just proves that we're never going to be done with this podcast. Ever.
We're only on episode 7 of Kill la Kill, and this was the first full series, and we've been doing this for like 6 months.
Have we been?
I don't know if it's exactly 6 months. We started like in the winter.
I mean, Uh,
Our first episode was posted on YouTube
4 months ago. So
first episode was posted on YouTube February 7th.
Yeah, so 4 months ago. So we've been doing this for 4 months. Okay. Well, we'll get through this.
I mean, I'm having fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting to, watch one of my favorite animes. This is like to remind the audience that this is, I think, my 6th time watching Kill la Kill because I really like it. It's one of those things that I just go back to, like marathon all of Dragon Ball Abridged about once a year.
I mean, well, that's a good show.
And I'll watch Kill la Kill every other year.
Also a pretty good show.
Watch Korra about 4 times.
I do love me some Korra. But yeah. Yeah. So hey Doc, where can people find you online if they want to talk at you about stuff?
Twitter. I am at Dr. C Monster. That is at DRC Monster. I'm there way too much. You can see me kind of tweeting stuff I like.
Good deal. That was pretty lackadaisical, but it's fine. It's good.
I'm in a laid-back mood.
That's fair. You can find me, as always, on Twitter at DatFirePrince, is spelled D-A-T. You can find me on the numerous podcasts that I do. Yeah, okay. You can find me on the numerous podcasts that I'm a part of on the internet. You can find me on various platforms. Generally look for Fire Princess Lily and you will find me. It's not hard. But yeah, I believe that's it. That's it. We're out of here. And as you notice, we did have an intro that I hope won't be copywritten. We'll find out, because if it is, then we will go back to not using an intro. Which, I mean, just means that we also have an outro. Haha. It's Nui by the rapper 6 Seconds. He apparently does a bunch of anime raps, and he has a Kill la Kill rap, and that's what we're using. So, glad I found it. It's pretty good. Yeah, so. Anyway, until next time, don't lose your way.
Don't lose your way!
All right, bye.
1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 5. I'm still the illest nigga alive. Come along for the ride. Through these eyes, nothing's new to me. I'm an undercover spy for the nudist beach. But hush, I'm making sure that you know. Considering you're a student of Aikuro. And that's word to my mama. With a blade, I'm way better than Sonic Ayama, Jack Azuri.